The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by, get this, Jägermeister. Give your beer a real shot this summer. An ice cold shot of Jägermeister. It's the John Deere Classic, and towards the end, the Scottish Open picks preview one and dones. Geoff Fienberg is in studio with me. We watched a lot of golf this week. 0 minutes for me.
I didn't see any on the weekend. I was
So 0 minutes for you too.
In cottage country. By the time I sort of had my bearings on Sunday, it was had gone full Molinari.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks in a row now this has happened.
Yeah, seems like it. And I don't know.
It doesn't seem like it has happened 2 weeks in a row.
Well, on the year, like there have been. I mean, Bubba and the last few weeks in Europe, they've been great. Come from behind.
It's funny.
Victories.
I've watched more because I was away at a wedding this weekend, so I was just gone for 3 days, sort of off the grid. But I was waking up early, and just like one of the 8 channels in my hotel room was golf channels. I was like, oh, I'll watch some Irish. Here comes Russell Knox. Did I bet Russell Knox this week like every week? Oh no, I didn't. No. That was a bad idea. It was a horrible betting week. I think I got shut out across the board. Worst week of the year. And all my loser guys like Spawn and Armour and Harkins and Hearn and Lanto, I just needed like 3 of them to come inside the top 20, 2 of them to come inside the top. If just one of them had come inside the top 20 from the last 3, and like Spawn or Armour had come inside the top 5, which they were all kind of positioned to do, would have been a very good week. All shit the bed. And then, of course, Russell Henley, who I needed for DraftKings, finally had a good day on Sunday, but not quite good enough.
A couple things. Going into Sunday, I still felt pretty confident. Just the way there had been a lot of comeback victories, whether it be in Europe or here. I thought Moore, Spawn, Finau, Love, anyone I kind of needed did really nothing on Sunday. And
okay.
We always know the Sunday heater's there, and it's been 2 straight weeks. The guy that wins is...
He's the guy who has the heater. Yeah, he's already in the lead.
He's already sort of right there. Some of the best and worst beats I saw of the week, though, were a collection of people letting me know on both sides that they had Russell Henley versus Xander Schauffele tournament head-to-head wagers that did a complete... They both went... Henley had a 7 under?
I was going to say, I think Xander was probably leading by like 10 strokes going into Sunday.
Something ridiculous.
That sucks.
Yeah. And Xander was out there with Na, so I guess he put some...
Well, Na probably played like 1 stroke every 17 minutes, and Xander was just like, just want to get out of here.
Apparently, Na played in under 4 hours yesterday.
That is stunning to me. All I saw were like Twitter highlights of stuff going on and Phil cheating again.
Oh, yeah. And there's no hissy fit to be thrown. I guess if he's going full Hollywood Hogan.
Yeah, you got to do it if you're going to do it.
I don't understand how such a rule savant can pull that off, though.
I don't know. I just don't think he cares. Like, if he's not in contention to actually win any of these things, I really think he stops giving a shit.
Well, and to the point that we kind of talk about sometimes with Phil in these lead up toward the majors, the reason he did it is because he said in his post that he's been working on a low shot for the next couple of weeks.
So hit it over into the fescue, trample it down a bit like it's going to be in Scotland, and just start taking some hacks out of it. I don't care either way. People get far too pious about this stuff. Who cares?
What's weird is this one I didn't really care about at all, but the U.S. Open one,
the U.S. Open one was just way funnier.
Well, yeah, it was very different. This one was kind of innocent, but stupid for someone that, claims to be such a rules expert that he knows when that he's, premeditated doing what he's done. If that makes any sense.
No, I got you. Giveaways. Actually, before we get to the giveaways, I'm happy Kevin Na won. I didn't win anything off it, but I like Kevin Na. I'm glad he won.
I'm happy he won too.
Good post-game interview, which Kenny Kim had to translate for us.
Yes, he's a very maligned player for obvious reasons.
He got over that. He took a 16 Valero that time. He had the yips and couldn't play. And now he's a winner again.
And the narrative of being like that really slow player, when I think we know there are guys that are slower than him. Like I think JB might have even passed him.
Jason Day might be the slowest guy out there, but he might have vertigo, so we don't know. And JB has the brain problem, so he just can't process quick enough.
So, and the easiest ones for me to get up from are, if I'm not really if I never really thought about betting you,
Yeah, what am I going to do?
what am I? Yeah. The worst ones are like sort of the Russell Knox thing.
Yeah, the Russell Knox thing. I've been on Knox for like a month. Decided to take it off when his odds dropped. It's like, Russell Knox isn't going to win.
Those ones
Russell
hurt.
Knox wins.
Those ones hurt. Those are the ones that are harder to get up from. But yeah, like you, I was kind of happy for non. Even to the Russell Knox, I put out there on Saturday. I'm in on him for the Open at 120.
Yeah, you would have preferred he just
I would
like
have
T9.
preferred, yeah, no, or even like just didn't hit the putt on 18 and lost putt. Like everything worked for him. What he did on 18, like to hit those 2 putts on 18, both to get in the playoff and to win, were phenomenal. But he was hitting everything. Everything.
Did anything stand out to you from like, because I mean, I'd be far more comfortable looking at what happens at like the Irish Open and this week's Scottish Open as we project forward for the British Open. And just for full disclosure, I'm filming the Giant Millionaire Maker Pick Show on Wednesday with Raza Leone and like 20 other people from around the industry to give their picks. That show will be out on Thursday. You and I will be recording on Thursday for the Friday show. Tomorrow's John Deere Classic DraftKings pick show. It's going to be out at like 6 a.m. We're really getting on top of this early. And then, of course, all throughout next week, we're going to have all the stuff. So I should let people know, before we get back to this, how they can win some DK bucks to get some free Millionaire Maker entries. Sounds pretty good, right?
Yes.
You can't win. Actually,
I know.
You can win. If you enter, you're in the draw.
It's okay.
I don't rig it, so.
But before you get to that, you were going to say something about what you were looking for.
Yeah,
at the Irish. I didn't want to forget because I'm interested.
I got a name for you. To win the British Open.
Oh, I might know where this is going.
Who do you think that person is?
I'm blushing. Is it Willet?
The man who paid for my wedding? Danny Willet, currently 200 to 1.
Okay. Full disclosure, I bet it. He just looks so good. It just felt right.
He's just not missing cuts. Yeah. Let's go, Danny. Let's get back on this.
It was like, he looks right. Like, okay, it's not the same feelings. I'm not going there. It's not going to be like my one and done. But he looks right, and I owe it to him.
I feel like I should be on him, too.
That's all.
I haven't bet it yet. I just started looking at his name. It's like, he's been on 2 leaderboards in a row. I don't actually have no idea where he finished. It could have been like T60.
You know what, though? More than 2. Because he's been on 2 leaderboards. Well, yes. Sorry. I'll rewind
He's been playing like Morocco, the Italian Open.
No, but I'll take that back. He's been on 2 leaderboards kind of in a row. But going back a few weeks, we were starting to see signs of like respectability again. I think even at the BMW, maybe you can just tell me the finishes, but he was making cuts and he was becoming a normal golfer.
Here's the thing: as I'm looking at his results, maybe he's not doing as well as we think. We just happen to notice his name when it's up there because he is not making cuts. His past 10 starts are T6 at the Irish Open, miscut, T8 at the Italian Open, miscut, WD.
What?
Yeah.
That's not what I've been seeing.
I know. I thought I saw him on the leaderboard in France. Apparently not. My eyes are just playing games on me. Still, I think he's 200 to 1. I've already bet Stumanji Sink at 400 to 1. I actually like that bet. Yeah, most of the time I'm just throwing it out here because this is just a value play. Stuart Sink, he plays
Why
well.
did my perception... Yeah, my perception...
Anytime he does anything, people let us know about it. They get all pumped up too, like Willet time.
Sorry. Do you know what I think I misconstrued? Is he played like 2 good rounds in a row, and I assumed my brain told me that was 2 good tournaments
in a row. Yeah.
In a row, or
something. I think I did too. But anyway, do you take anything out of like these Irish Open finishes, as opposed to what happened at the Greenbrier? I would extract more.
I want to say this, yes, because again, I saw Knox lingering at the end of Saturday, and I bet him to win the Open. I wasn't looking at who's lingering in West Virginia and being like, oh, I want to bet that guy to win the Open. Yes.
Coming out of the Irish Open, I'll get to the giveaways in a sec, but like Thorborn people are all over now. I like Jorge Campillo. I think he just grinds on these Euro courses, man. I kind of like him this week at the Scottish. He just hits a ton of fairways. And Matthew Pavon, remember him from the U.S. Open? He's been having some nice little run here. Apparently he's a very good links player. So
I want to give some credit, and we'll debate it, and it's all marinating. I don't really think a lot of guys' odds are going to drop unless they win. We've seen Chesko's odds drop, and I'm sure Nas' odds have dropped, and Knox obviously almost got cut in half. Mm-hmm. Now that's what's going to happen if Ricky or Phil or one of these great players wins this week. A Grace or something, their odds will obviously drop. I don't think any of the top guys, those odds can really go anywhere. I think
Well, Dustin's not playing, so he can't go to 4-1.
I just think the books are gonna do what they kind of did at the U.S. Open and the Masters and say, this shit's wide open. You figure it out.
Yep.
There's so many great players. We have no official chalk. Everyone is kind of like we're something.
And then I'll find the one guy from the top who does the worst, and that will be my pick. I guarantee it.
Well, okay, maybe, and I'll piggyback it, but I'll tell you, Rahm made a triple bogey yesterday, and I don't know whether it was a weather drop. I don't know what happened to him on Thursday, Pat, but he had a horrible Thursday, and he still finished 2 off that playoff.
What's he at? 20?
See, he actually dropped a little. I think people like what they saw in, was it 2 straight weeks? Because he had a decent, and Sergio kind of faded, where were they, in Paris?
In Paris, because he put it into the high stuff and then started freaking out because he couldn't get out of it and took a triple bogey.
And he still had a crazy finishing score with the triple bogey in that round.
The big thing's going to be is when we're going to get to next week and people are going to start talking about like the course fits. I've already written up my preview for it, but like I'm going to be taking sort of the complete tee to green players. Like just doing one thing really well, because it all depends on the wind, right? Like in 1999 when Van de Velde exploded, the playoff score that year was +6. Last time around when Patty and Sergio went to the playoff, it was -7, and there was only, I believe it was 19 players under par. So it's gonna play. You have to avoid.
You don't know how it's gonna.
You don't know how it's gonna play, so you need to have everyone who's kind of good in all facets of the game. And I think I might be leaning more accuracy over bombing. If the conditions are like minute and there's no wind, these bombers are going to tear apart Carnoustie. That can happen. But when is there not wind?
Yeah. And I don't know, there's this whole debate. I don't know. I don't know if I should get into this or we could just save it for Thursday.
Save it for Thursday's show. That's
but
we're
temperament is becoming a big thing. And you look at these American players that are winning, like Brooks and Justin Thomas and even DJ.
Kevin Na just won.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about majors.
Okay.
They don't I don't know. I'm about Rahm being Rahm. I'll say that. I don't think anything is going to stop him from being everything in this game. And
it's just like you can't bet Dustin at the British Open because he's looking forward to his honorary national championship the week after at the Canadian Open.
You know what? Did we talk? We talk about
it every. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that. Save it because I wanted to get to the giveaways. I keep saying we're getting to the giveaways and we're not getting to the giveaways. Here are the winners of the 20 DK dollars from last week. Plus, there was some given out on the MMA UFC show with Paul Shaughnessy and Cody Saftik. The Dogger Pass podcast comes out on Wednesday night. So if you want to get some DK bucks, you might want to head over there and figure out how to get into those draws. But Lone Star Killer 56, Star Fox 01, and J Corb 19 are your winners for the 20 DK dollars for this time around. Of course, the Millionaire Maker coming soon, costs $20. You might just want to get an entry with that. It might take a little while to process here. My guy is on vacation for like a day. I think he's either back like Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon, so it might take a day for the money to get in. If by Wednesday you haven't got it yet, hit me up on Twitter and I'll get you in there. For this week, what we need to know is, let's throw out the top 6 guys in the field of the John Deere Classic. So give the episode a like. That's step 1. This is for the video version. Give me your favorite play from above 20-1 this week that you think can win the John Deere Classic. Or if you want to do it the other way, give me your top pick from the Scottish Open from beyond 30-1, because there's better players over the Scottish Open this week. Leave your DraftKings name in the comment section after giving it a like, and boom, you're in it. And for the iTunes audio subscribers, just leave a 5-star review of the show, 2 or 3 lines about something you like about the show, leave your DK handle, and you are in the $20 draw. Separate draw for that one. And it's much easier to win because far fewer people leave those reviews than the YouTube reviews. And will be another giveaway on tomorrow's John Deere Classic DraftKings show with Jeff Ulrich, so stay tuned for that. No chat this week either, because we're going to be filming British Open stuff, which I'm thinking is more important than the John Deere Classic. Canadian Open.
When did the news... Sorry, because it's been a couple great weeks of news, I feel, for the Canadian Open.
It got to... The spot is now the week before the U.S. Open, which is exponentially better than the week after the British Open.
Yes, it's not the greatest spot, but it's much better than...
I would say it's 700 times better.
Okay, yeah, fine. I mean, I'm so biased that I think it should be a WGC.
Yeah, it's not.
In a prime spot, based on its real history. But yeah, I got to take what they'll give us. And I think that's fantastic. Next year...
Hamilton.
And I mean, it's a long one.
Hey, last time it was in Hamilton's one of the best courses in the country.
Right? Or McGirt?
Piercy beat McGirt and someone else coming down the stretch. It's a birdie fest. It's a fun one. But now we get some of the Western courses back into play that you couldn't do the week after the British Open because it was just too goddamn far. Like Shaughnessy GC in BC is going to be back in play, which plays like it would be the perfect course to go play before the U.S. Open because it's a U.S. Open style course. It's so hard.
And I would also say this. I mean, I'm happy about it, but I feel like they kind of dropped the ball in not putting next year's out west because the U.S. Open's at Pebble Beach.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid.
So now they're coming from, so that might keep some people away, but I think we talked about last week how Fleetwood is coming, Brooks is coming, DJ Bubba. I'm pretty hyped for this year's edition. Yeah. So Fleetwood can either win the Open Championship or come to Canada and get a hug from me.
Feel like if he doesn't win the Open, if he wins the Open Championship, he might cancel out on the Canadian Open.
Yeah, I know, but if he doesn't, then he comes and we
get
hug.
High fives.
I get to hug him, and it's like a win-win for Tommy.
Perfect. I'm in for that. If Tommy goes and you get to meet Tommy, I'll try to bring my camera and we'll film it. You give him just a big bear hug. John Deere Classic. Back at TPC Deere Run for like the millionth straight year in the Quad Cities. One final spot to the British Open remains for someone in the field who has not previously qualified, the top qualifier. We saw Bryson get in last year. We saw Herman get in. We saw Ryan Moore get in. Jordan Spieth. And I think Spieth was already in that year, the year that he won. Par 71, it's shorter than last week. So it's shorter than last week, and you have another par 5. And the fairways this week, even easier to hit than last week. When I kind of rated out what really plays here in terms of stats, is what's been the most prevalent among the guys that finish inside the top 10 and the top 5. Strokes gained approach and strokes gained putting are the only two things that rate. Strokes gained approach among the top 5 finishers was almost 4 times more important than off the tee and like 8 times more important than around the green. So this is why Wes Bryan plays this tournament well every year. Off the tee doesn't really matter. You're going to be putting it in the fairway. Can you hit a wedge? Can you putt? Boom. That's what you're looking for.
It seems like, and the winners are, some of the greatest putters.
And the winners that you look at this course, there ain't no scrub winners of this event if you go back and look at it. So the past champions, I had this pulled up. Let's see if I can find it here.
We could run them off. Bryson Moore, Herman, Spieth, ZJ, Stricker, hat-trick.
Stricker, Kenny Perry. What do those guys have in common? They all hit it short, but they're really good from in close.
But they're also all really good putters, outside of Moore, which I guess is kind of like...
Well, Moore's not so hot right now, put it that way. But he's up and down. That was when he went on his run, and I think he almost won the FedEx Cup. Remember, it was him and Rory in a playoff?
Oh, yeah. I had him that tournament. Yeah, all great putters. And I will seem to be liking guys who aren't great putters, so...
That's not great.
SOL, but this top of the board seems, I don't know, man. Like everybody else, we took a look at this one. It's the ugliest pooch of the year.
It is, and it's tough to like. I've played some like a lot of long shots from down, but those are mostly for the top 5 odds. Like this is going to be a very normally these are the fields I really like to attack, but it really does feel like one of the very top guys is going to win. I only really went close to the top of the. Well, I just listened to all the winners. You don't think those guys were favorite? Even Bryson was like 30-1 last year.
Wouldn't Zach even in the past come in here at like
8-1
or something?
Well, Zach Johnson missed the cut in 2007. Since he has a win, 7 top 5s.
And he got water cannon before
he did, yeah.
putt a couple years ago.
Yeah, and that's when he tied with David Hearn to come in second. When the guy just drove by and put the air horn on him. So the top of the board looks like this. Molinari and DeChambeau are your co-favorites at 10-1. ZJ is 12. Neiman is 16, Ryan Moore is 18, Stricker and Stanley are 20, Chesson Hadley is 30, Austin Cook is 40, Wes Bryan is 45. I have one play from down here that I'm just kind of bit the bullet and said, what do I need to know? I need to know that approach means a lot, putting means a lot, and around the green stats are completely... Put it this way, if you need to use your around the green game here, you're not making the cut.
Yeah, you're already
You're
done.
just done.
You're already done.
Yeah, you just need to give yourself 20 feet for birdie on every hole and just pray the putter gets out. That's how you win this tournament.
And I'll say this.
And this guy was 25-1 earlier this year, 35-1 earlier this year in like real fields.
Yeah.
Now Chesson Hadley's 30-1 against a bunch of losers. There's decent guys at the top, but it's not...
Even Hadley's like...
Dustin Johnson's not in this field. Like, Molinari and Bryson are good. They're not the elite of the elite. Yeah. So give me Chesson Hadley.
I like where your mind's at by all metrics that work here. It does make sense. Even biting the bullet at Hadley at some ridiculous numbers. Like I want to say the players or something. Like at a 50 or a 60 to 1. Even this being a 30 is like exponential value, I would argue.
Great with approaches, great at putting.
Molinari's quest for FedEx Cup points might be going a little too far right now. Why does he need to be here?
I think he just committed to playing it, and he was like,
I'm on a heat, let's go.
Like, I'm not going to withdraw. And it's not like we haven't seen people play in this tournament and go win the U.S. or win the British Open. Zach Johnson did it like 2 years ago.
Ugh.
That was a real kick in the nuts, but hey.
Jeez. I mean, it is the summer of Bryson, but it's a little too far.
I can't do it. It's like Neiman. Listen, I was on Neiman last week. He made the run. He was year one and done. Ended up coming T5. Are you really gonna bet him at 16 to 1?
He's had a couple great weeks that have just been hijacked by horrible Saturdays and then heater Sundays that give him that finishing result. You put out your stat model key stats. You seen in the last 24, 36
he's there.
rounds. He's peaking at everything. We joked off air. I burned him in the one and done last week. I'm sure a lot of people did. You kind of feel like anyone who didn't use him last week, he's probably going to be the most popular one and done pick this week. Well, I mean, that being said, Francesco,
I haven't used Francesco, so potentially I don't think I've used Hadley, so I'll end up using him. This is like a week where I don't know what Cuss one and done pick is. I'll look that up right now. I assume it's Steve Stricker.
You know what? Stricker might actually be the most popular one and done.
If there's a spot to use him, this is it.
And he's a guy that can go unused unless you use him here. Yeah, I take that back. I just think if you didn't burn Neiman last week, this would probably be where I would let him pop. And you mentioned the key to this week is just being at like 18 feet all week. And that's essentially what Molinari did for 4 rounds at the Quicken Loans.
Yeah, so think about how, did Molinari finish positive putting that week? Or was he the guy that finished like minus putting?
No,
he gained 3.2 strokes.
Yeah, and he went into Sunday 45th in the field and finished like 20th because he was so insane on Sunday.
So he gained 3.2 strokes on the field putting, and even with that performance over the past 24 rounds, he's 110th in this field in putting. The guy's not a good putter all of a sudden.
Wow.
But it just kind of proves you can have your hot rounds. Do you know who's playing the Scottish Open this week? Luke List. People are wondering where Luke List is. He's over at the Scottish Open, getting ready to win the British Open.
Luke List, yeah, I guess. Would have been nice to see him have to qualify here.
He doesn't need to. He's in.
What would his odds have been this week in this field?
In this field, 20 to 1, 25 to 1, maybe.
Yeah. And when debating Neiman, I think Baraf deserves the credit for this joke, but on a scale of 1 to 10 and how good Neiman is, 1 being the lowest and 10 being... On the scale of 1 to Bryson is essentially the joke. How good is Neiman?
9?
Yeah, right?
Yeah. It's just the tear that he's going on right now just reminds me a lot of when Rahm turned pro after the U.S.
It
Open.
is identical, and we said that 2 weeks ago, and it's even more like he just...
But
Rahm was doing it in the swing season, though.
No, because we got Rahm at like the Canadian Open that year, and we got him at some of these tournaments like the Greenbrier and stuff like that, and he didn't do quite as well as Neiman's been doing, but I remember him.
But he got the PGA card almost as fast.
But when he came to the Canadian Open, he was like 18 to 1 to win. I was doing the show with Cam. It might have been.
No, because that wasn't last year.
No, it might have been 2 years ago. I just remember talking to Cam about it because Cam was still around the office then, and you and I were doing the show. He's like, "Oh, Rahm." It's like, I'm not betting the guy at 16 to 1 or 18 to 1. It's too tough.
That was the year he went to like Phoenix and
competed. Then he went to the U.S. Open and then he turned pro. But like we even saw it with Bryson, like it's hard. You can have these top end performances right when you turn, but it does take some time. Like Rahm didn't get his win until Torrey Pines the following year.
And Bryson didn't get his win till last summer. That being said, in recent memories, some of the brightest young stars have broken their cherry here.
Agreed.
In Bryson, in Jordan.
Spieth. So Herman got his first win.
It seems like a place where, cherry's getting popped.
Doesn't it just feel like a short hitter is going to win this? No short hitters, except for Bryson, really. It's usually just like a accuracy wedge guy. Moore, Stricker, Zach Johnson.
I want Hawaii-type limited exposure, so I got to avoid all these guys. I'm with you on really burning that Hadley thought, though. Because his approach game has been fire, and the number, well, at first instinct seems ugh, you kind of on deeper examination, it's not that bad.
So the other guy I was thinking about from this range is Kyle Stanley. I think he might end up being my one and done, just because I know no one's gonna. People will now take him because I've said it, and I don't know why people follow me for the one and done because you're beating me, but. He feels like the forgotten man about you can make your case like Bryson's having a great year, Molinari coming off a win. This is Zach Johnson's course. Neiman's hot fire. Steve Stricker, he's won here 3 times. Ryan Moore's won here. If he can just make a few putts from 5 feet, he's going to win this tournament. Hadley's having a great year. Austin Cook coming back. He ended up getting his open qualifier last week. He played really well. He has a win already this year. Wes Bryan, this course sets up perfectly for him. It's like, Kyle Stanley's just like, Kyle Stanley, perfect. But he has the sort of game that you would want here. He's a short hitter who hits wedges well. And he's putting well right now.
Yeah.
He's 20-1. If that number fades later on in the week, I'll have my cheat sheet up on facebook.com/thepme. But I can see myself potentially getting behind him. He's 20-1 right now. He's the same odds as Stricker. But it's just Hadley. Hadley's the only one I have in stone already.
I'm not there on Stanley.
Okay.
I'd rather bet Hadley with 10 more points.
That's what I'm saying. If it falls back a little, I don't know if I love the 20. I might love the 25.
I've actually seen Hadley drop a couple points on some books.
Well, Snedeker withdrew, and that kind of threw a wrench into everything.
Makes sense.
So this next level of guys, the middle tier,
where I've made my first couple bets.
So who have you hit in this spot?
Chris Kirk.
I hit him too.
And just because I bet him last year and it was a heartbreaking Sunday, but he can't putt, Patrick Rogers.
Yeah, I gave him some hard looks. I just don't know what to do with Patrick Rogers. He's one of those guys that should have won by now. Him and Jamie Lovemark, I feel like they're the same person.
Lovemark really knows how to go backwards on a weekend.
But even when you look at it, I was on Rogers DraftKings wise for the U.S. Open. He made the cut. He made 4 cuts in a row, missed the cut last week. But it feels like last week would have been a better spot for him. I know he came second here last year.
Is this his best career finish?
Yeah, second. Yeah.
So I don't know. I had him. I'm still
he's lost.
I know people talk about there are some short birdie holes here.
Yeah.
That guys that hit it like him, in this new modern young hitter. I know the profile of who's won here, but there are some holes that really tempt a guy like Patrick to go after.
You know what I'm looking at here, and just based on the names I've rattled off as winners of this event. What do they all kind of have in common?
Well, they putt well.
But where's another course where they all play well? And I remember looking into this last year and trying to figure out why.
Give it
the Masters.
Yes, you got 2 Masters champions. Bryson, I think, will be
who's played well at the Masters. Ryan Moore is always a name at the Masters you see on the leaderboard at some point before he ends up coming T11. But there's a lot of weird lies at this course. You know how they say you can't have a flat lie at Augusta? Where this course is so short, it's weirdly hilly, and you're just stuck with a lot of downhill sideways lies. And being able to navigate that, I think, plays to some of the shorter hitters for one, being able to put it where you need to put it, but being able to do that as well. Now, there's just not a lot of people in this field who are Masters caliber, but it's just kind of interesting to look at. I mean, that's my 2 cents on it. I don't think Patrick Rogers would ever win the Masters, and I'm betting Chris Kirk, who's definitely never winning the Masters. So 55-1, it's not a bad number. It used to be Bovada's at 35 right now.
Yeah, I'm happy I got that in. I was just doing a comparative, and I was staring at it as it dropped. So, although they still. No, they're 35-1.
Any love for Kelly Craft coming off a second? Was there any bigger lock in the world that he wasn't going to win yet? I saw the top of the leaderboard. I was like, I wonder who's going to win this.
Isn't that not the most amazing stat ever, though? That Greenbrier stat that
no one has
ever led a round and gone on to win the tournament.
It's kind of crazy.
Pretty wild. I'm not in on Kelly Craft. He's in that range. Though of guys, a lot of love I'm seeing for Aaron Wise, 66-1.
He's missed 4 straight cuts since winning. He hasn't been good. I get that the skill level might be higher, but I think the whole point with him is you want to target him where he can really use his driver to effect, and this is a place that kind of mitigates your driver a little bit.
I would agree. How about cheating swag for Sung Kang?
Nah, I'm not big
on
Sung
Kang. Come off that big finish. I'd love to get him and Dahmen out there in a pairing.
Yeah, that'd be kind of funny. Dahmen's 80, and Dahmen's going to... We went through Joel Dahmen Chalk Week 3 weeks ago when everyone was on him on DraftKings and he missed the cut. at his price on DraftKings this time around again.
Off his fire week.
Like he reeks of missing the cut.
He,
I agree.
I know. Ever since he got a Shake Tiger's hands, things have been going pretty good.
In my model right now for the week, he rates at 4th.
Wow.
Behind Molinari, Bryson, and Hadley. That's Joel Dahman over the past 24 rounds.
Listen, I've been staring at Dahman and Bryson Burgoon. And Putnam Andrew. I haven't pulled the trigger on any of those guys.
I actually kind of have to I kind of spaced that he was in the field.
I bet him last week. It's the same number in a shittier field. I mean, not by much, but it's still shittier.
What did he do last week?
Missed the cut.
He missed the cut?
Yeah.
First missed cut since the Valspar in March.
That doesn't bother me. A little fresher.
He's lost strokes on his approaches. Like, it feels like his run might be over. And where he was making up a ton of his strokes was around the greens. And again, if you're doing that this week, you want to be like neutral around the green just because you never had to hit a shot. That's sort of the tournament that you're looking for. So you'd want the approaches to be dialed in. That's what would give me pause on a lot of these guys, the ones that haven't been hitting the irons all that well. Like Gay, I thought was interesting. Landry's super interesting. You think he can win twice in 1 year?
Rarely happens.
It's true. That's same as Austin Cook.
I can't even, Kazire did it in the swing season.
Yeah, I don't think he's made a cut since.
We rarely see mid-level players win twice in a year. Give me, who's it been? Xander kind of did it, but he's kind of maybe made that.
Yeah, but he was this tier last year.
I'm just saying, you don't usually see. They seem historically in recent history, they seem incredibly difficult to follow up when mid-level guys get the win.
You never see Brennan Steele reel off 2 in 1 year.
No, and I've been a sucker to go back there, even though I missed the win. But Woodland, I could just. It's easy to pick on guys, but I don't know. Tweet me if I'm forgetting somebody. I
liked what I saw from him at.
He played great a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he was 8th at Quicken Loans. He looked kind of dialed back in, but he kind of gagged a bit on Sunday. But so did everyone besides Armour and Molinari. Where's Armour? I know he qualified for the Open, but play this tournament too, pal. Try to get another win. Very upset with how he finished. Why isn't Spawn here? Yeah, too much golf. Let's go to these events you can win.
Yeah.
Try to break through. The other ones like Streelman, who had that disaster in the bunker and then rebounded really nicely, but still missed the cut by a stroke at Greenbrier.
Isn't he a profile for here, though?
Yeah. Irons.
I never bet him.
I bet him 2 weeks ago, and I'm on the fence about it this week. It's just you see all the names that have won, and it's not Kevin Streelman. It's not JT Posted. It's Stricker, Spieth, and Bryson.
Well, I don't
Herman's the worst player who's won this in the past 10 years. He's good. That's what I find tough. And there's no one of that caliber here outside of the very top end.
See Woo.
Well, yeah, of course. See Woo Kim coming off a missed cut, odd slashed in half because he missed a cut.
I'll say this. There's nobody in his odds range that has a win in the last 2 years. Each of the last 2 years.
And he has two of those wins.
That's sort of what I'm going with. There's nobody with a 16 and a 17 win. In and around that number.
And you know what you're going to get with him. You're going to get fire or you're going to get your heart broken. Always a better bet than a DraftKings play. I always try to tell people that, and they freak out because I bet Siwoo every week. He's an auto bet. He has the game to be... It was almost like Patrick Reed was. Far less consistent than Patrick Reed. Remember when Patrick Reed was just on early in his career and he just win tournaments? And you're like, the hell is Patrick Reed doing this and looks so bad the next week? Siwoo has that gene, that when he's in it, and he's rolling, he's tough to catch. He's a good player. He's very good with his wedges. And the off-the-tee stuff that was plaguing him at Quicken Loans, where he kept hitting it in the middle of the woods, shouldn't be that big of an issue this week. He can just get it close, hit some wedges, hopefully make some putts. So I'm in on Siwoo at 70. And I think that was it. I played Keith Mitchell as well. I just want guys that make birdies. He's one of the guys that makes birdies. He makes a ton of bogeys, but par 4 scoring, Keith Mitchell. I like Keith Mitchell, so I'll go in on that 80 to 1.
Before you dip into triple digits, you have a big football show coming out this week.
I do have a big football show coming out this week. Wednesday morning it will drop.
On that note,
the top 200 players.
Your first rank,
my first ranking
debut
show,
ranks.
and I got a big guest for it too.
It's exciting.
I won't say who it is because I haven't filmed it yet, but in case it cancels.
But you've already done a lot of football.
I have.
How good are the Chargers going to be?
I'm hesitant. I'm more. Put it this way. I'm more confident that the Raiders will be bad than the Chargers will be really good. Because the Chargers can always go full Chargers on you. They were good last year and started 0-4.
I get that. You could play that whole, like, by every metric, you break down the units, each unit as individuals, except for kicker and tight end right now, unfortunately, ranks incredibly high, like on a league-wide scale, which is why the PFF and the analytics guys really like the Chargers.
Yeah, you know who never wins championships, Jeff? Nerds. But play it on a spreadsheet, Jeff.
I get it. If your thing is they're just the Chargers, they don't play home games, they'll miss the kick. Like, I get that. But odds to make the playoffs came out for the first time. Okay. And they were minus 145. So I am just ready to go.
You know what throws the wrench into all of this? Because we all expect Kansas City to be pretty good. If Case Keenum's all right and Denver's good again.
Well, Denver is always, in my opinion, my first thought is they're kind of being undersold because their home field advantage alone and their defense gives them a chance. I don't know. They might have a horrible coach, which could set them back, but you're not wrong.
Because they got nothing out of their quarterback.
Their home field advantage and their defense alone set them up to compete.
And this Royce Freeman guy, people are talking him up. I've always been a fan of Devontae Booker, but you have Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas on the outside. They're not bad players. They're just bad when Brock Osweiler is throwing them the ball. Or who they have? Paxton Lynch. Who was the other bum they had last year at quarterback? Trevor Siemian. Oh, yeah.
Do you know who's going to be killer this year? And I'm going deeper because I don't need to tell someone in your atmosphere that, a good player is good. Austin Eckler is going to take that Woodhead Sproles role that's been so important to Phillip and the play calling in San Diego forever.
Spoiler alert on my rankings, I had to bump down Melvin Gordon a few spots because I'm kind of scared about Austin Eckler.
I believe he gets to take over that role, and I'm pretty excited for it. I haven't fully recovered from the injury to tight end. That's a heartbreaker because that was a personal guy for me. But yeah, so they're going to be good, or you're not buying it?
I'm buying it. I think they're a playoff team. I just have no faith they'll win a close game.
They might.
Yeah, sure. They might.
They might. Caleb Sturgis this year. People who play with kickers probably drafted him in leagues last year, like in a 12-man last year.
Fantastic. Means you're not scoring touchdowns.
No, I'm saying league median kicking might be available to us.
Well, if that's the case, maybe there's just a hex on the Chargers.
Well, thanks. That's not breaking any news.
Let's get to these 100 play. We'll talk more. So that's
dropping.
Sorry,
I just had to do it.
That's dropping on Wednesday morning. My top 200 players, and then either early next week or potentially even over the weekend, my positional rankings with Garriott and Cust.
That should be good.
You can find out who's Andercursed because that's the important information.
Have you recorded it?
No.
What's exciting about that is that usually becomes a profitable day for you because Cust makes some egregious claims. You talk him into actually putting money on his claim.
I didn't make him pay me last year. He had a picture of himself, which I don't know why he ever saved, but I exchanged all the money he owed me for that picture, which I have not shown anyone, which I will be releasing on the show.
I didn't even know about this. But he'll say something and you'll win money because he said it.
The Allen Iverson of golf, Abraham Answer, has withdrawn. He qualified for the Open Championship. Would it be nice to see Neiman get in this week?
You mean win?
No, you don't need to win. If someone else has previously qualified and you come second, you get in. I don't believe it's a win and you're in. Maybe it is. I always thought it was a best player in the field who was not previously qualified.
There's a couple spots.
There's only one spot. One spot available here. I think there's 3 at the Scottish.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Yeah. Let's get some long shots. Who you like?
Did we mention Burgoon at 90? His name kind of came up already.
You mentioned Burgoon.
I don't know if I'm fully there, but he could fill a cup of birdies. David Hearn 110 do anything for you?
Yeah, I already bet it. This is excited as you talk about Patrick Rogers and his best career finish. Let's decide David Hearn's best career finish. And when I broke it down in terms of David Hearn, the key stats proximity-wise that I looked from, like 125 to 150, 150 to 175. That's where I believe it's a plurality of approach shots. It's like 40-something% come from that range. David Hearn led the field last week at the Greenbrier from 125 to 150 and was second from 150 to 175. Kevin Na was first. He comes in 110 to 1. I liked him last week. He's made the cut 3 out of 4 years here with that second place I talked about. He's rolling a little bit, and this is one of the courses that can play to his strengths. Anytime that you put any sort of driving distance into the mix, David Hearn is absolutely useless. But at a shorter course where you can score on par 4s and par 3s, David Hearn can get a hot putter. The pride of Brampton, Ontario.
All right, I'm making a bet.
110. You might have better odds somewhere else. And I bet Harold Varner, just because I'm a sucker.
Yeah, see that.
There's no way that he's winning after everyone's going to be on him this week, but I don't understand how he's 110 to 1 after his week, and like Kevin Tway is 60 to 1.
Well, I got 2 stars beside 2 names under that 100 to over that 100 to 1, and it's Varner and Hearn. Hearn, I feel better about. Varner, I wasn't sure if I'm going to play it, but he deserves to have his name brought up on this show. And it does seem like he'll be incredibly popular. He is incredibly. He's a favorite, like within the Twitter community anyway. Kind of.
You know what might be the move for him? Because he's going to be. What's his price on DraftKings? Where did he fall? I didn't even see him there. Harold Varner. Oh, there he is. 74. Oh yeah, so $7,400 Harold Varner might garner 20% ownership in big tournaments. So your play might be. Bet him with the each way at 110 to 1 and just do not use him in DraftKings. So if he wins, hey, you get paid. If he misses the cut, you box out most of the field. Then we got to play a little theory of playing your hedging against your DraftKings teams and try to get paid either way. You can't just have it all.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's something we haven't talked about in a few weeks, but this field for the Hearns, for the Varners can present hedge equity if they get there late. I mean, granted, Zach or one of those guys would be a big favorite in a head-to-head situation. But no one is that
big of a favorite.
Yes, there's not. Yeah, exactly.
If it's a one-stroke lead, let's say Hearn has a one-stroke lead over Molinari. It's probably even money.
Maybe, but either way, sorry, I see what you're saying there.
If Molinari's up by 2, he's like minus 300. Then you're kind of screwed. But you still have a lot of pot to play with there.
So I don't know, could be possible. Last year, I feel like that Patrick Rogers number was in like 80 to 100 to 1. So I'm again going back down. I'm excited to give him another go. Quickly, the weak him or Sam Saunders, anything?
No, the guys that I played from down here, I played my main man Lonto,
of course,
160 to 1 with the each way. The Gooch, 225 to 1 with the each way, and who was the other loser? Corey Connors.
I can't find.
Corey Connors lost 7 strokes putting last week. He was, ball striking wise, he was all over it. Could not make a putt.
So you're gonna have a Connors Hearn card?
Oh yeah.
This is a first for you.
I know. I'm digging the Canadians right now.
Well, Matt. Who else we got? Matt Hughes and Silverman.
Well, I need to get out on the Canadians before the Canadian Open because that never turns out well for anyone.
Oh yeah, no. Okay.
So those are my guys from down there.
I'm behind Hearn, and I can definitely get behind Connors. That's an easy one for me.
And the Gooch rated out really well, and birdies are better, and those 2 proximity splits I looked at. He's 225. And realistically, I don't know the answer to this question, but is the Gooch really a 3 times worse than Tyler Duncan or Ryan Blom and those guys? Like, I feel like they're all kind of one and the same.
Yeah. And I'll say this. At 350 to 1, I've put a couple bucks on Norman.
Big Norm?
Yeah.
You're back in on Big Norm?
I mean, granted, last week was an easy driving course, so I don't want to overrate the driving accuracy, but the distance and accuracy combo really impressed me. And the greens and reg, he just couldn't putt. Is that a good recipe to win the John Deere Classic? Absolutely not.
Yeah, he did hit a lot of greens regulation. He did lose 1.3 strokes on approach. He gained 3.7 off the tee. I think you just might want to bet him at longer courses.
I can't wait to see him going forward because, like I said, the thing that excites me the most is the combo of distance and accuracy that I think he brings.
Do we think that Big Norm is better than Doug Gim? Because Doug Gim's in this field. The Gimmer. Win one for the Gimmer.
Why wouldn't I think Big Norm is better?
Gim was the low am at the Masters this year. He's been playing on tour for a little bit longer than Big Norm. Did we ever figure out how to pronounce his last name?
I don't know.
Like accurately? Yeah. Doug Gim made the cut at the Quicken Loans and made the cut at the Masters. Didn't finish particularly well in either one of them, but he's out there too. I think he's way down in the odds. And there's another guy, Brock Everett. Just won the individual NCAA championship, 1,500 to 1. Although he immediately turned pro, played on the Mackenzie Tour, and missed 4 consecutive cuts.
And I guess on that amateur note, I know didn't he just turn pro Dylan Meyer from Illinois?
Hot Fire, Dylan Meyer? Yeah, he's in the field. Where's he at?
160 to 1, 7,000 on DraftKings.
He might be the one to look at. He had the good Travelers, or was I on him at the Travelers and he had a bad Travelers? He made the cut at the U.S. Open. I recall that.
And where are we here again?
Illinois.
So he'll have that.
17th, the Quicken Loans, Hot Fire, Dylan Meyer. And that's a course that should correlate. You don't need to be quite as accurate off the tee, but that's where shorter hitters kind of came to play. If he did at the U.S. Open.
And I mean, for what it's worth, I'd imagine he has a great deal of familiarity with this course. I don't know enough.
Is this where he's from?
He's University of Illinois.
Oh, then yeah. Then you would have to, right?
Yeah.
I think that's why this Brock Everett guy is playing. I think he's from Iowa or something. It's the Quad Cities region. Because I think it's like right on the border of Illinois and Iowa. I think that's where it is. Silvis, Illinois. Anyway, no one cares.
Yeah, and Zach's from Iowa, I want to say.
Yeah, and so is Strayed. Striker's from Wisconsin, so he's local to the area too. But Dylan Meyer, yeah, I can see Dylan Meyer. He's probably my favorite of all like these Big Norm and Doug Gim. Dylan Meyer at least has had a modicum of success. He's made cuts.
What about the other guy that outdid Gim, Norm, last week in his group? Zendao?
Yeah, he ended up missing the cut, didn't he?
What?
Yeah.
What, did he bogey out?
Because I was looking into it.
That sounds like 500. I don't know. I was just tracking Norm. Shocked to hear that guy.
Zecheng Dao?
Yeah.
He ended up missing the cut, yeah. So cross him off the list.
People like Chad Campbell here. That do anything for you?
He just plays well here every year. And he is, again, the quintessential, let's hit fairways and greens in regulation.
Yeah.
He's not putting it out of play anytime soon, and great with wedges. But he is having like a disastrous season. Like, at least you see Chad Campbell like pop up somewhere before this. Just hasn't happened. Like Dirt McGirt too is like should be someone who's good at this course and just isn't. I mean, he hasn't been playing well coming in. It feels like his run might be over. He's on the back end. Ryan Palmer and Scott Stallings were other names, but I just started looking at all these names like these guys aren't going to win. Or one of these guys could win. I can't kind of pinpoint it, so I'll just take the guys with the super long odds. Hopefully I can get a top 5 and Chesson Hadley wins, and I'll have a gigantic week, and it'll be fantastic. All right, let's make our picks. Let's get to this. For me, I'm going Chesson Hadley, 30 to 1. Chris Kirk, 55 to 1, but apparently that number is like all but gone at this point. Then we have Siwoo and Keith Mitchell, 70 and 80. And then from beyond, David Hearn, Corey Connors, The Gooch, and Lanto Griffin. Those are all really tiny plays, and I'll probably play them all top 10 or 20, depending on the odds. The Hadley play is really the only like serious play of the week for me. I'm just having some fun out here.
I'm really thinking about that Hadley play because I've been betting him a lot, and this doesn't seem like the time to get off.
Well, it seems like a good course for him.
It does seem like I'm going to get off Wonder Kid, and what can I do? You can win without me. I don't want my exposure anywhere near having to bet that. Chris Kirk, Aaron Rodgers, wow. Chris Kirk and Patrick Rodgers are in. Hadley, I'm really thinking about, and the Hearn Connors HV3.
Oh yeah, I forgot HV3. He was another one of the bombs that I took.
Yeah.
Well, my card's full. And it's Monday afternoon. Perfect. That was smart of me.
But I feel like your exposure's still in line because you're not really in on anything.
Like Hadley is like the only real bet that I have in.
And Streelman, I got to think long and hard about because he fits the profile of that.
Streelman, Piercy, and Landry were the 3 that I want to give some more thought to. Just because they can go out and score.
Landry, I don't think I'm going to bet, and I acknowledged to you off air that I feel like I don't know why I'm just overlooking. Piercy, I can't figure him out. I don't know what the rhyme or reason there is.
Maybe he can win at Hamilton again next year.
Streelman seems perfect for this course. He's like the poor man Zach, right?
Yeah. He's Zach who can't
like even
putt.
in appearance almost, or just like or watching them play. He's not that bad a putter, is he?
He's not good. He's not good. One and done pick of the week. You, sir, had Das Vonda Kid.
Yeah.
So, and I had Russell Henley. So a 5th beats a 10th. So it's up to you. You should use HV3.
I was thinking about it, but if I am going to the back there, I'd play Hearn to be like kind of sneaky.
Who are you going to play, though?
Patrick Rogers.
Patrick Rogers. P-Rog for you, and I'll take Chesson Hadley. I don't think that I've used Chesson Hadley. If I don't use Chesson Hadley, I'll switch it to Kyle Stanley.
Did you find out who Tim went with?
No, he hadn't tweeted. He was too busy tweeting back at people who were calling him an entitled millennial, which was cracking me up. Scottish Open. Russell Knox's home course. Party Marty Laird's home course.
If Russell Knox wins again, I'll just hit cash out on my open bet.
Just get triple your money back already?
Yeah.
So the favorites here, Fleetwood withdrew, Stenson withdrew. Stenson was dealing with some sort of injury. It just sounds like a hoax, so he doesn't have to play. But
he's always dealing with something.
So the favorites, Rose is 10, Ricky's 10. Hatton's 18, Reed's 18. Hideki is 20. Knox is 22, as are Andy Sullivan and Matt Kuchar and Ian Poulter. Phil is 28. Rafa and Louis are 25. Then there's a precipitous drop-off, like Chris Woods, 45. Thomas Peters. Matthew Fitzpatrick, he is 50-1. Like I mentioned, Luke List is here. What's Luke List's odds? 125. That's a bet. Boom. Luke List, 125-1. There you go. You're already a winner by betting Luke List. Kevin Chappell's playing. Danny Willett is 100-1. Ross Fisher isn't terrible value at 60-1. I think he's over his back injury now. Do you have any sort of feel for this?
Uline 55. Haotong 66.
I forgot about Haotong.
I don't really have a strong field. That seems pretty low number for Kuchar, doesn't it?
22?
Still not over last year.
Yeah, me neither. I got a good cash out on him, though. So last time that the Scottish Open was held here, the only time actually, was 2015. That year, Ricky Fowler won. And then everyone said there was no chance he wouldn't win at St. Andrews. And then he hit the most greens in regulation in the field and came dead last of everyone who made the cut somehow. So Ricky, Kuchar, Raphael Jacquelin tied for second. Then you had Malk Warren and Eddie Pepperell with Joost Luiten, all tied for fourth. Luke Donald, Ross Fisher, Daniel Brooks, Richard Karlberg, Y.E. Yang, Victor Dubuisson, David Howe, Russell Knox, Tommy Fleetwood, all tied for 10th. And you got some Brendan Grace action. Ben Martin, Beef Johnson. Let's see. Brooks Koepka, Phil down in the 30s, Chris Wood, Lowry and McDowell down in the 40s. So it strikes me as this is a course. I mean, Ricky winning is kind of one thing, but if you just look at some of those other guys, Kuchar, Luiten, Donald, Fisher, accuracy players. Just keep it in the fucking fairway and you're going to be fine here, I think. That would strike me as what you want to do.
Dunn and Fitz?
Is that what Dunn does? I have no idea.
Yeah, isn't it what he does?
Yeah, well, it's not going to be Fitz. That's also Tim's pick to win the British Open.
Oh, yeah.
So the guy that I went and looked at in terms of the two accuracy guys that you can kind of bet from the back of the pack. Let's see how they're doing going in. One was Aaron Ray. Aaron Ray comes in with a 37th last week. Missed the cut in France, and the week before he was 5th. That's not really all that terrible, but he's a kind of pure accuracy player. And the other one is Sharma, who I can't remember if he missed the cut last week or not, but he made the cut in France. And again, he just hits a ton of fairways. And if this was 4 months ago, Sharma would be 30-1 in this field. Now he's 160-1.
You kind of alluded to it, but Beef seems pretty high.
Beef's 125-1.
Yeah. Seems pretty high.
Yeah. Does Martin Laird win his National Open?
I don't.
Party time for Marty?
Hatton is pretty short. And I've started to look at him for wow, next week.
Yeah.
It's here.
We're all the way there now.
Quick turnaround. I have very little exposure because I guess the turnaround and the wind draw, and I don't know. I haven't really been tempted to get on guys, though. I feel fortunate for the couple I have.
Cam Smith is playing this event, too. He's missed 4 consecutive cuts. He hasn't made a cut since 13 weeks ago, according to Mike Miller's sheets here.
What was that, like Riviera?
No, because, let's see, he came 32nd, whatever that tournament was. He was like 4th at the Masters, so it was after the Masters.
So somewhere in Florida.
Heritage, maybe?
Jeez, I don't know. I don't have a real strong opinion about Scotland. I'm also trying to keep my exposure.
Trying to keep it in your pants a little bit?
Yeah, I just want to keep it low. Next week is a major.
Yeah.
Hatton seems aggressively short here, though, doesn't he?
He's been running hot. Hatton comes in with a 16th and a 6th in his last 2 starts, and one of those was he came 6th at the U.S. Open. I think people kind of forget that.
Isn't Sullivan had a couple strong weeks, too?
Yeah, he has. Do you really want to bet Andy Sullivan?
Sometimes. Maybe next
the
week.
Spaceman?
Maybe next week.
Did that ever happen for him? Did he ever go to outer space?
I don't think so, but I think he still has a credit for a trip to space.
Yeah, actually, he's been quite hot fire. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 top 10s in his past 6 starts.
What's his number next week?
I don't even know. I assume he's qualified, but I have no idea.
I would hope he's qualified.
So, List, because List, like Siwoo. Anytime List is in the field, you know I'm getting on him. I have to jump off that, though. Feels like the swing season. Luke List missed his run. Might have to get on at like the Safeway Open or something like that. Might have to
It's like 14-1.
He won't be 14-1. He'll be like 20. Brendan Steele will be 8-1 because he's won it 2 years in a row. I feel like that's the type of career Luke List could be in for. He could be the new Brendan Steele. They're both equally as bad at putting. But hey, you find a course you like, make some putts, and boom, you're all over it.
Yeah, I bet your guy Campillo.
Oh yeah, where is Campillo?
55.
55. That's the guy. I'll bet Campillo, List, and just little minor plays on Ray and Sharma, probably like $3 to win or something like that. I'll spend a pack of cigs worth of value on betting some of these super long shots here. That's it. What are you looking forward to most about the British Open?
My wife and child are going to someone's cottage for the whole weekend.
The whole weekend?
Yeah.
Does that mean we have to get together to watch it?
If you want to,
I can,
but it's just kind of early. I like to just...
You'll be there by yourself?
Just like, sprawled out. You asked me what I'm looking forward to
That's
most.
It's just being by yourself?
Well, just getting able to enjoy. My wife's good like that. She plans like her excursion weekends on major championships, and you know.
That's nice.
Yeah, because I'm kind of like, I don't need to be around anybody. I could be in seclusion
when
the
does
whole
she
weekend.
leave?
I don't know, probably the Friday, I hope.
Does that mean we're doing the cut sweats again?
Oh yeah, we could do cut sweats.
People seem to like the cut sweats.
Yeah, it was an exciting. The U.S. Open one was.
Oh, because Speed
good.
missed the putt to make the cut. That was fantastic. After John.
But what
Rahm had
time? What
bombed
time
out.
were we gonna have to do that?
I don't know. We'll have to judge it on Thursday. It'll probably have to be like noon. It's
Even
probably a better time for everybody.
It's yeah. I guess that is even better. I guess I'm already looking forward to that.
So here's what I got coming up. If you've stayed this long into this show, it means you probably enjoy the golf. So tomorrow I got Jeff Ulrich for the DraftKings John Deere. Maybe we'll touch on the Scottish. I'm not sure because that just obviously we just talked about it. I don't know a ton about it. He knows a ton about Euro though, so he might have a little bit more insight to that. Raza Leone on the Super Show, DraftKings Millionaire Maker. Then we'll have interstitial guests. We'll have a whole bunch of other big guests giving their pick to win at the end. It's a pretty comprehensive show. It'll be like an hour and a half to 2 hours long. Then you and I on Friday, and then I'm guessing that me, you, and Cust again will go over the props on Monday. That will be fun. Colin Drew, and Logan Harper from Fanshare Sports will join me on the ownership breakdown on Tuesday, and then I'll have the live chat with Reed Fowler on Wednesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time on the DraftKings YouTube channel. So if you like the British Open, it's not going to be lacking in coverage, put it that way. I got football rankings coming out too, which more people will watch.
Yeah, but that's football.
That's football.
Football's like the Tiger Woods of fantasy sports.
That's true.
Nothing else moves the needle like it.
Well, it's a good week for me too, because I usually release my rankings a little bit earlier, but I saw like, hey, if I wait to this week and I release my top rankings and then release my DraftKings British Open show the next day, I might get some like, hey, who's this Pat Mayo guy talking about football? He seems okay, like new people. So you have to catch the people with football and keep them around for the rest of it. So having a super show the next day, which should be pretty highly produced. Paul and I are already working on it. But Should be a good show.
And you're going to put
Hopefully my picks don't suck again like the last two majors.
What can you do?
Yeah, you lose money. That's about it.
I could ride or rom or die again.
Yeah, rom or die is going to be the question this week.
That's what's marinating up here for a couple days.
All right, that'll do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Geoff Fienberg, check him out on Twitter at gfienberg17. Already pumped for Chargers season.
I'm always pumped, but when like you people out there start turning the extremely positive narrative on them, I get like overly pumped.
What's going to happen when Tim picks them to win the Super Bowl?
That will not happen because he likes Kansas City more.
He says that now. He already said that the Kansas City is free money week 1 against the Chargers.
I'm starting to worry about that game more than I was when the schedule came out. Because you
told me you can't look at football rankings in July because that's all you'll look at. So you're obsessing over a week 1 game?
Well, fantasy. I don't want to dive into fantasy, but like the Chargers as a whole is always on my mind. And I just worry that week 1 against the Chiefs, originally I liked that concept. Now I wish that was like week 3 or 4 because I want to have like a month of tape on the rookie. Now I'm worried we're going to get like RG3 first ever game, you know? On the 10-yard line, 90-yard touchdown with his hands in the air to Pierre Garçon type bullshit, which I think everyone remembers because it was an epic day. But then we kind of know. I just think Andy Reid, like, Bosa Ingram can eat this kid alive, but Andy Reid will have like the first 35 plays scripted and we'll have no real film. I wish we could have played him like week 4 or 5. I'd eat him. I'm very worried now about week 1, but that's what goes on in here. Chargers Radio 24/7.
You should just do it. Leone has his own Bills podcast. You should just have your own Chargers podcast.
Yeah.
Just be fired up all the time.
Yeah. You know, Casey Hayward ranked as the second best season since Revis in 06 for a corner last year.
I do now.
Yeah. Still underrated.
I just know he's good. If he asked me to name like the top 5 corners in football, he would be one of them.
Yeah.
What happened with Verrett?
He hasn't played much in 2 years, but
is he still good?
Well, that's.
I feel like these corners have a short shelf life. I remember when Nnamdi Asomugha was the best quarterback ever, and then no one knew for 3 years because no one threw at him.
The secondary was great last year, and we add if Verrett can stay healthy and the first round pick Derwin James, which everyone thought was a great pick and a steal and filled an absolute team need, and Bosa and Ingram eat like nobody else in the league. So I'm fired up. Just league median kicking, and we will play in that tournament that happens after Christmas.
How do you feel about the coaching?
When you go 0-4 and finish 9-7, you can't do anything else.
You could bring back Mike McCoy.
God, no. My point being is you all have favorite teams. If they went 0-4, I promise you they'd go 3-12 or 3-13. Teams don't do what we did. The towel gets thrown in. Was not allowed to happen.
So you like it?
Yeah, but...
And they got a gimme game against the Bills because they started Nate the Great.
But I also am worried because we made the playoffs the first year under Mike McCoy, and I thought he was a good coach.
This used to happen to the Dolphins all the time. Where
Gase had a great first year, and now he sucks. It'd be like
the team would start like really poorly under a new coach, and then towards the end of the season they win like the 49ers are like pretty much the classic example of this. And they had a quarterback change. That's kind of completely different.
Yeah.
But like Dolphins teams for years, they'd have a great like last 5 games. They win 4 in a row to end the year, and going into the year like, you know, it's going to be good. The Miami Dolphins, and then they'd start 0-8.
I'm fully buying into Coach Lynn at the moment.
What was it last year? He had different facial hair for all the games?
The first month, we kept losing games. He was just rocking something different, whether it just be like the beard or the... I just noticed he kept changing. And I said, this thing better change or you're Octavia Spencer to me. Just like Coach McCoy became Ellen. And good thing he's not. We fixed it last year.
He still has time.
There's a lot of time.
Hit up Geoff with your British Open and Charger thoughts on Twitter at gfienberg17. You can follow me at ThePME on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, where my betting cheat sheet will be on Wednesday afternoon. No chat this week, but there will be a DraftKings show. My DraftKings cheat sheet and full field preview, which is actually out right now, is up on DKPlaybook.com. Get into the many draws for some DK bucks because British Open Millionaire Maker is coming up, so this week for the video version, give the episode a like, leave your DraftKings handle and your favorite John Deere Classic play above 20 to 1, your favorite Scottish play above 30 to 1. Leave it in there. It's a draw. You don't have to be right about it. Or if you're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to the audio podcast, leave a review, a sentence or two, and leave your DraftKings handle. Boom, you're in the draw. Only like 20 people did it last week, so those odds exponentially higher than the YouTube ones, all right? And catch the show tomorrow morning, Tuesday, DraftKings John Deere Classic, all right, with Geoff Fienberg. I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
That Mayo experience! Experience!